Okay, so this is on using a sketch, which we have done before, but before we didn't have numbers. It was like draw a sketch for cos theta equals p, or cos theta equals 1/2. Okay, so before you do this, I'd like to go back and refresh your memory on those first videos, because that's kind of the introduction to this. But yeah, okay. So what you need to do is, I don't know if you remember before, but we had to try and figure out which quadrant to draw our sketch in. But this it's a little bit easier in that way because they've given us a number. So we know for sure that our sketch is going to line up in the first quadrant, because I mean 20 can't be anywhere else. So here is 20. Okay, and then remember you always draw your triangle down towards the x-axis, and it's always a right angled triangle. Okay, with these numerical ones, I want you to fill in every piece of information that you can. So in other words, if this angle is 20, what will this angle be? You're going to use some angle of a triangle. So you can just say 180 minus your 90-degree one minus your 20-degree one will give me 70. Or, I mean, both of these will just add up to 90 because that is already 90. So that over there is going to be 70. You'll be using both of these angles when you answer the follow-up questions. Okay, now the next thing you need to check, and remember I told you guys that this has to be a fraction. So instead of it being p, I'm going to make it p over 1. Because cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So if you're looking from your 20, because the first angle they gave you was 20, cos is adjacent, so this over here is your adjacent angle. So adjacent is p over hypotenuse is 1. Here is your hypotenuse, so that must be 1. Then remember, how did we find this missing line? We used Pythagoras. We're missing a side. So side squared is going to be equal to hypotenuse squared minus side squared. So side equals the square root of 1 squared minus, 1 squared is just 1, so you can get rid of the square, minus p squared. But you cannot go and square root the p squared because there's two things under here. But 1 squared is just 1. Okay, so this over here is square root of 1 minus p squared. So that's your missing side. Okay, so now you're going to have to use this sketch to answer these questions. But if you look at the questions, first of all, like the first one, 1.1 is cos of 160. Okay, now that needs to be reduced. We've just done this. See? Reduce. Okay, so you need to first find out which quadrant that 160 is. Okay, so if this is 90, 180, 270, 360, 160 is going to be here. Now what is cos in the second quadrant? It is negative. So this becomes negative cos, and then you need to find your in-between angle there. So 180 minus 160 will be 20. Okay, so now this is something we can work with. And if you look at your sketch, you have 20. In fact, it's even in the question, cos of 20 is p. So negative cos of 20 would be negative p. Correct? Okay, 1.2. Sine of negative 70. So we must first reduce this. So over here, this is the negative direction. So this would be negative 70. So this angle is just 70. Correct? Okay, so what is sine in the fourth quadrant? Sine is negative. So this is the same as negative sine of 70. Okay, so you know this is going to be negative. And if you look at your sketch, you see now why it was important to fill in that extra angle. So your extra angle there is 70. So now we can look from this side. We're looking at sine. Sine is opposite, so opposite would be p over hypotenuse is 1. So it's negative 70, it's negative p over 1, which is just the same as negative p. Okay. 1.3. Do you see how this ties in nicely with your co-ratios that you learned? with cos and sine, 90 minus, like if it's cos of 20, sine of 90 minus 20, 70 will give you the same answer. Remember we learned those. Okay, 1.3, cos of 200. 200 will be here somewhere. So we're looking at this angle. The angle between 200 and 180 is going to be 20. So CAST, this is tan quadrant, so obviously cos would be negative. So it's negative cos of 20. Now you can look at your sketch. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is P over 1, so it's just P. So the answer is negative P. Okay. 1.4. Sine of 340. 340 is going to be over there. The angle between 340 and 360 is 20. Okay, and this is the cos quadrant, so sine is negative there. So this is negative sine of 20. Now that you've reduced it, we can actually use the sketch. So it's negative sine of 20 is opposite, which we went and worked out nicely for ourselves. 1 minus p squared over hypotenuse, which is 1. I've just left out the 1s because anything over 1 just stays the same. Okay, cool. So that's one example. Do one more, and then you guys have an example in your textbooks to do. Okay. Again, because they've given us the number, when we draw a sketch, it's easy. We know that it's in the first quadrant. So that is going to be my triangle. This is 43. I told you go fill in that second angle, so it'll just be 90 minus 43, which will be 47. So over here we can just make this 47. Okay. Now let's fill in what we know. Sine 43 equals a. If I make this a fraction, it's a over 1. So the opposite from 43 is a, and the hypotenuse is 1. So when I do Pythagoras to find this is going to be the square root of 1 minus a squared. You guys can check that when you go and do Pythagoras. Okay. Now, when we answer our questions, we must make sure that we reduce first. So where would sine of 223 be? Okay. 223 is going to be here somewhere between 180 and 270. So you're looking at that angle over there. You're interested in that one. And sine is negative. So it's negative sine of this angle. So this angle would be 223 minus 180, which is 43. Okay, so now look at your sketch, or you can even look at the question. They've already given it to us. Sine of 43 is a. So negative sine of 43 would be negative a. Okay, 2.2. 317 is over here somewhere. So this angle would be 360 minus 317. Okay, so 360 minus 317 gives me 43. And what is cos here? Cos is positive. So it's positive cos 43. So cos is adjacent, which we've worked out is square root 1 minus a squared over hypotenuse, which is just 1. So we don't have to write that in. Okay, well, almost there. Almost there. And then we've done this week's work. Okay, negative 139. Sine negative 139. We'll land up, if this is 180. We're going, this is negative 90, so negative 139 must land up here somewhere. Okay, so the angle between 180 and 139, you can just subtract that, so you're going to get 180 minus 139 is going to be, is it 139? Oh, 137, sorry. Question says 137. Okay, 43. So this angle is 43, and T is the quadrant there, so sine is going to be negative. So it's negative sine of 43. So sine of we've done that already actually. 43, so negative sine of 43 is just negative a. Okay. Yeah, okay. Cool. 2.4. 133 is over here somewhere. So the angle between 180 and 133 we must subtract. It's 47. Okay. So now you're actually looking at your 47. So you know you're going to use that one up there. What is cos here? Cos is negative, so it's negative cos of 47. And then look at your sketch, so it's negative. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it's negative a over 1, which is just negative a. Okay, cool. So I think you guys should be set with this stuff. Yeah, as per usual, just message me if you have questions.